Tama Tonga returns with Jacob Fatu to confront Damian Priest on SmackDown. They said Tama Tonga was finished. WWE management thought they could quietly sweep the good bad guy under the rug and pretend he never existed, but they made the biggest mistake in company history when they underestimated the loyalty of the bloodline. Tama's shocking return alongside Jacob Fatu wasn't just another surprise comeback, it was a declaration of war that's going to destroy everyone who thought they could disrespect Samoan family honor without facing deadly consequences. When you see what Tama and Jacob did to Damian Priest and hear the promises they made about their plans for WWE's future, you're going to be absolutely terrified of what's coming next. The sight of Tama Tonga walking down that SmackDown ramp with Jacob Fatu by his side wasn't just unexpected, it was the resurrection of wrestling's most dangerous family alliance that had been quietly plotting revenge while everyone assumed they were done with WWE forever. The crowd's reaction was absolutely electric, but Damian Priest's face told the real story. He knew he was about to face something that his Judgment Day experience had never prepared him for. What happened next was a masterclass in psychological warfare as Tama and Jacob systematically dismantled everything Damian thought he knew about intimidation and faction dominance. These weren't just two wrestlers looking for a fight, these were representatives of a family dynasty that had been disrespected and dishonored, and they were ready to make everyone involved pay for thinking they could treat Samoan warriors like disposable employees. But here's what's going to make your blood boil with excitement and rage: Tama's return wasn't motivated by personal career ambitions or championship desires. According to backstage sources who risked their jobs to reveal this information, Tama had been planning this comeback for months while secretly coordinating with Jacob Fatu and other family members who felt that WWE had systematically disrespected their cultural heritage and family traditions in ways that demanded violent retribution. The confrontation started when Tama grabbed the microphone and delivered the most brutal verbal assault on WWE management and roster hierarchy that anyone had ever heard on live television. His accusations weren't just about booking decisions or creative differences, they were about cultural disrespect, family dishonor, and the systematic exclusion of Polynesian wrestlers from main event opportunities despite their superior athletic abilities and legitimate fighting backgrounds. WWE thinks they can use us when it's convenient and throw us away when they're done, but they forgot one thing: we're family, and family never forgets. Tama's opening statement was delivered with such raw emotion and genuine anger that it was immediately clear this wasn't scripted entertainment. This was someone expressing years of built-up resentment about how he and his family had been treated by corporate wrestling politics. But Tama's speech was just the beginning of what turned into the most explosive family manifesto in wrestling history. Jacob Fatu stepped forward and revealed that their return represented something much bigger than individual career comebacks. It was the formation of a new Samoan coalition designed to systematically eliminate everyone who had benefited from their absence and restore proper respect for Polynesian excellence in professional wrestling. We've been watching from the shadows while pretenders like Damian Priest get opportunities that should belong to real warriors. Jacob's declaration was accompanied by such intimidating physical presence that several audience members actually moved back from ringside, sensing that genuine violence was about to erupt between competitors who possessed legitimate combat training and cultural motivation to prove their superiority. The most shocking moment came when both men turned their attention to Damian Priest and began systematically attacking everything he represented as a manufactured main event star who had been given opportunities based on corporate image rather than legitimate fighting ability or authentic cultural warrior heritage. Their criticism wasn't just professional, it was deeply personal and designed to humiliate him in front of his own audience. Damian's attempts to respond with his usual Judgment Day intimidation tactics looked absolutely pathetic compared to the genuine menace being projected by two men who had grown up in wrestling families where respect was earned through legitimate toughness rather than scripted storylines and protective booking decisions. The contrast between authentic warrior culture and sports entertainment posturing was absolutely devastating. You think your little Judgment Day faction makes you dangerous? We are danger. We were raised by legends while you were learning how to pose for cameras. Tama's attack on Damian's credibility was so specific and culturally informed that it revealed someone who had been studying his opponent's weaknesses and preparing character assassination techniques that went far beyond typical wrestling trash talk. The psychological warfare that followed was absolutely brutal as Jacob and Tama began systematically dismantling Damian's confidence by pointing out every instance where he had needed faction assistance or management protection to maintain his position in WWE's hierarchy. They made it clear that they viewed him as a creation of corporate politics rather than a legitimate tough guy who could survive without artificial advantages. But the most devastating aspect of this confrontation was how it revealed that Tama and Jacob's alliance represented something much more significant than just another faction formation. It was the beginning of a cultural movement designed to establish Polynesian wrestling dominance throughout WWE's entire roster structure, with plans that extended far beyond individual championship pursuits. The backstage implications of their return are absolutely terrifying for wrestlers who thought they had established secure positions during the bloodline's previous internal conflicts. Tama and Jacob's partnership suggests that family disputes had been resolved in favor of presenting a united front against everyone who had taken advantage of their temporary separation to advance their own careers. Industry veterans are calling this one of the most impactful returns in recent memory because it combines legitimate cultural authenticity with superior athletic ability and family legacy connections that create advantages no other wrestlers can replicate through training or character development. The natural intimidation factor possessed by Samoan wrestlers makes them uniquely dangerous in ways that extend beyond scripted entertainment. The financial implications for WWE are potentially massive, as Tama and Jacob's partnership could create merchandising and international marketing opportunities that tap into Polynesian cultural pride and wrestling heritage in ways that generate revenue streams extending far beyond traditional American audiences. Their authentic cultural connections provide marketing authenticity that money can't manufacture. Damian Priest's position within WWE's hierarchy has been fundamentally challenged by this confrontation, as his inability to respond effectively to cultural and athletic superiority arguments has exposed potential weaknesses in his character development that could affect his long-term career prospects. The contrast between authentic toughness and manufactured intimidation was uncomfortably obvious. The crowd's reaction throughout this segment demonstrated genuine appreciation for cultural authenticity and legitimate family connections that felt more real than typical wrestling storylines. The organic audience engagement suggested that Tama and Jacob's partnership could generate the kind of passionate fan investment that creates lasting business success and cultural impact. Other wrestlers on the roster are reportedly taking notice of this development as a potential game-changer that could affect booking decisions and championship opportunities throughout WWE's programming structure. The possibility that cultural heritage and family legacy might become more important factors in career advancement has created uncertainty about future planning and strategic positioning. The international wrestling community has responded with intense interest to this partnership, as Tama and Jacob's alliance represents authentic cultural representation that could influence how other promotions approach diversity and international talent development. Their success could create opportunities for other Polynesian wrestlers worldwide. Social media reaction has been overwhelmingly positive for their return, with fans expressing excitement about seeing legitimate family connections and cultural heritage represented authentically in WWE programming. The organic enthusiasm demonstrates hunger for storylines that feel genuine rather than manufactured by corporate creative teams. The long-term booking possibilities created by this partnership are virtually unlimited, as their combination of legitimate toughness, cultural authenticity, and family legacy provides storytelling opportunities that could sustain compelling television for years while also creating international business opportunities and cultural bridge-building initiatives that benefit WWE's global expansion efforts. Their confrontation with Damian Priest also establishes a template for how cultural authenticity can be used to create compelling conflicts that feel more significant than typical wrestling feuds. The depth of meaning behind their motivations provides emotional investment opportunities that extend far beyond entertainment into genuine cultural representation and family honor concepts. The precedent set by their successful return may encourage other wrestlers with strong cultural or family backgrounds to emphasize those elements in their character development, potentially creating a more diverse and authentic roster that better represents WWE's international audience while maintaining the athletic excellence that defines quality professional wrestling entertainment. WWE's creative team now has access to storyline possibilities that combine authentic cultural elements with superior athletic ability and genuine family connections, creating programming opportunities that could revolutionize how the company approaches diversity, international marketing, and cultural representation while maintaining the competitive excellence that defines successful professional wrestling. The transformation of both men during their time away from WWE appears to have focused on developing not just their individual abilities but their understanding of how to leverage their cultural heritage and family connections for maximum impact. Their maturity and strategic thinking were evident throughout this confrontation. Quick question for the comments: do you think Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu's cultural arguments against Damian Priest were justified, or did they go too far in their criticism? Let me know your honest thoughts below. And here's another one: which current WWE wrestler do you think would have the best chance of successfully facing this new Samoan alliance in a fair fight?